want to get into, Tiffany, really quickly, because you do work with newer shooters a lot. And I do too. We both have that in common. And I have such a passion for new shooters. I have a heart for new shooters. Like, I'm literally going to get emotional talking about it.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm the same way.
they
Same
are
way.
my people.
Yeah.
And
I
I
totally
develop bonds
understand.
and relationships with those people, and I see them grow from where from day one, where they first came in, and I try to help support them even after, they're a student of mine, because they become more than students, I think. I don't know, but anyway, I'm not going to talk about me, but you get what I'm saying, right?
I
You get what I'm
totally get what you're
saying.
saying.
So
Yes.
I want to reach out to any of you if you are a newer shooter, or you're thinking about coming to a class, but you're not sure where to start or what to do. You're nervous. What are some things, maybe, Tiffany, that you could offer someone like that? Are there any questions they should ask before they come into a class to help assess whether or not that's the place for them? What should they keep in their mind if they're attending one of these classes? Just anything you can do to help those newer shooters coming in.
Yeah, that's a great question. So first of all, of course, as you know, it's going to depend largely on the personality of the student.
Yeah.
Some folks don't need a whole lot. They're kind of in it for whatever they get, and they'll take whatever happens. Those folks don't need to do quite as much vetting. But for folks who are more likely to be greatly affected by all of the little nuances and idiosyncrasies of human interaction that are, separate from and aside from the actual instruction, you will want to do your homework. If you're that type who is distracted by, I just don't get a good vibe from this person, or I can't understand this person's accent, or this person's laugh is annoying, little things like that that seem random and unsubstantiated, you have every right to be choosy about your very, very first experience as a student in a firearms class, because the more distractions you have, the less bandwidth you have left over for focusing on safety and learning good, solid introductory technique. Our
Mhm.
cognitive bandwidth is zero sum. So there is no such thing as, well, let me just crank out some more bandwidth. You can't, whatever's there is there.
I
All
wish
right.
that was a thing.
I know. I wish it were too, but it's like money in the bank.
Yep.
You can spend and spend, but at some point the checks start to bounce. And so
Mhm.
you want to clear as much space for learning and for absorbing new information as possible. So if you can, before that first class, do as much as you can to get a feel for the personality of the instructor, and be honest with yourself about whether you think your personalities mesh.
Mhm.
And don't judge yourself for feeling leery. It's perfectly okay for you to say, I have no idea why I don't want to train with this person. I just don't. Think of it's no different from dating or picking a doctor or a therapist. We've all had that feeling where we go to the doctor or the dentist and we're like, I just don't like the bedside manner. You don't have to have a formal complaint against the person. If it doesn't feel right, you've got the great thing about being a new entrant into the training world is you've got infinite options. I mean, within your limits of geography and resources and that sort of thing, but you can pick whoever you want for your first date, as it were. So
Mhm.
I like to tell folks to go to websites, go to YouTube channels, get a feel for the person's personality. Don't just read static text on a screen. If a
Mhm.
person's website has no pictures and no videos, maybe consider that person a second choice. Go
Mhm.
somewhere where you can actually hear a person speak, where that instructor is looking you in the eye through a video, or where there's a phone number listed where you can call and have a conversation. And then if you do that, maybe ask the instructor, hey, who's the last person you trained with? You don't even have to be prepared to recognize the names that trainer throws out. But if you ask somebody who's the last person you trained with, and either they don't know, they can't tell you, or they refuse to tell you, or they're offended by the question, that's a red
Mhm.
flag.
That tells you
Okay.
a lot right there. Yeah.
That tells you a lot. It's a red flag, So
Yeah.
if you call someone that you're considering training with and they give you the sense that you are annoying them or are a burden to them or
Mhm.
taking up their time, you have no obligation to excuse that. Okay. You can
Mhm.
absolutely take that as a warning flag and maybe bump that option down lower on your list of first choices because first impressions are a thing. And
Yeah, they are.
the vast majority, I don't know, Laura, I would guess probably 95% of people who take a first class, that's the only class they ever take.
Mhm.
So I certainly don't encourage that. Continue
Mhm.
training, but your chances of continuing training are much greater if you have a positive experience that first time. So I would suggest if you're considering it, take advantage of every possible opportunity to maximize that experience. And you do have a lot more power than you think you do to affect that.
Yeah, and that reminds me of something else that we talk about in self-defense, which is trust your gut, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes,
Trust your
don't
gut.
start
Do you
rationing away those gut instincts. Just trust them. They are embedded in you through your lineage for millions of years. Trust
Mhm.
them.
Mhm. Amen to that.